Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a 3v3 team matchmaker game played on Map Gen. Let's go ahead and get into player introductions, starting with Team 1 up here in the north and ending with Team 2 down here in the south. And of course, we're going to start in the east and head west with the Purple Seraphim going first. Land at 749 rating. It is none other than Fickum. Then, of course, over to the west, we have ourselves a Blue Cybern going first, Air. He is 1,792 rated, and he is, of course, Spiky Noob. Then, last but not least, for Team 1, we have a Light Blue Aeon Best faction going first. Land at 1351 rating. It's no other than Nomander. And now we can go ahead and head down to the south, where we will start in the west and make our way east, starting with the red 1,292 rated UEF player, none other than Burning Firefly. Then, of course, up to the northeast of him, we have a Maroon Seraphim. Poor choice, but of course he's going first. Land with 1379 rating. It is none other than Miles Gloriousness, or Gloriousus. Something like that. And then last but not least for the entire game, another Aeon player going orange and with 1151 rating. His name is Bladewerg. And with all of our players introduced, we already have some spicy action going on. We have a T1 bomber. In fact, we have two of them already out for Spiky Noob. And look at that, he has already managed to take down one of his opponent's engineers. And of course, that is just the beginning, as of course I struggle with all of the buttons. And that is our T1 bomber. 2 kills, 2 engineers nabbed, and now he has this bomber heading up northeast towards Blade, along with his other bomber, which just dropped a bomb. That looks like 3 engineers killed. And another bomb dropping on top of that air factory to stop the interceptor from being built for Blade. Tired of your nonsense, Spiky, says Blade. He is fed up with the abuse he is suffering at the hands of the 1,700 rated player. And these bombers are getting real value. 3 kills onto this one, 4 kills onto the other. A T1 AA is desperately trying to chase them down, but unfortunately doesn't seem like he's going to be able to catch them out just yet. And now more expanding engineers are going to fall to the overwhelming presence of Spiky Noob's early game bombers, and we already have our first attempted bomb drop out from the Zeus, but misses the mark. Nice dodges coming out from Miles, whether they are on purpose or not doesn't particularly matter. And the AA not firing at the bomber right above it because it was locked onto the bomber that was just outside its range. And now, of course, more engineers going down. 5 on one of these bombers, 4 on the other. Either way, that's a pretty good trade for pretty much any player going for this kind of early bomber play. Looks like 3 more engineers going to go down at the very least. And that is going to be brutal. 6 kills on the remaining bomber, but it's finally going to be chased down by an interceptor out from Miles. And that has meant that the early game is going very, very poorly for this Southern team. They are still managing to expand in a timely manner, but that is a lot of effort being thrown into something that didn't have to be as much of an issue as it was. And we now are starting to see a lot of units pouring out from Nomander. Meanwhile, his mirror player, the player in the same position as him, still doesn't really have any land presence. And in fact, none of these players on the Southern team really have a land presence other than moving the comm out. And we're starting to see land production come online, of course, for Nomander, and we would not be surprised to see Fickum coming out with his own land production very soon. So that does stagnate the builds of this Southern team slightly, but they are on average higher rated than their opponents. Of course, that mostly thanks to Spiky Noob, who is massively overrated compared to everybody else in this game. Not overrated in the bad way, just has more rating. Now, of course, Nomander walking his way out to this 4 mechs expansion. Going to be throwing down some mexes, getting himself set up. And right now, we're going to see back here, Spiky Noob, he's going to have a lot of territory to expand to behind him. That early bomber did cost him quite a bit in terms of engineer production, and he won't have much land production, but both of his allies are getting up some good land production, and yet again, you're just not seeing land units pouring out of these bases. This was the effect of that T1 bomber, and of course, that could have lasting implications for this southern team. T2 now on the way for burning Firefly, and he wants to burn bright and burn fast, as it looks as though he's going to try and PD creep, get a little bit aggressive here. T1 PD being thrown up by Nomander at that 4 mechs expansion. Okay, now I go full air spam. That means that Spiky is opting for the option of ecoing up and going for nothing but air, and he's going to rely on his lower rated allies to kind of protect him from possible ground incursions, and I think that's a good call, as Nomander getting a few Aurora in towards the back line of Burning Firefly, and he just doesn't have any units. He's building up the land factories now, but he just doesn't have the units, the boots on the ground right now. And this is bad for Burning Firefly. He is going to be able to get out some tanks very soon, and he will be able to stop this. But this is a lot of territory being taken away, and he's going to have to re-expand to it. It's going to be a slow effort for him here in the early game, sub 10 minutes, and we've got all kinds of action going on. Nomander really happy to see him getting aggressive onto his opponent. T1 radar system now going up for Burning Firefly, and he does have a couple of tanks showing up, but those couple of tanks don't last long when they're outnumbered 3-1, and they are outranged as well. The scout's going to be very valuable here. These tanks, as long as Nomander keeps an eye on it, these tanks just really won't do any damage. He's going to get some free kills off. And right now, it's looking really bad for Burning Firefly. Meanwhile, over on the rest of the map, T2 is 55% done and getting, or at least for a moment, was getting assisted by Miles. But as of the moment, not anymore. And overall, this incursion of land units, the most action we've seen all game, and these Aurora starting to get a lot of real damage down. Those are at least 4, maybe 5 mexes already down for Burning Firefly. That's going to be significant in his economy this early on. And the strikers are managing to get within range and kill off these Aurora, but the Aurora have already paid themselves off. And there is, of course, a huge army over here to the north of this that can always come down and continue pressuring, or he could just build up and go for something here in the middle. We now have Triads coming online for Burning Firefly. Meanwhile, in the far east, we have Blade, who is building up a hellishly large production line. I don't know why I chose hell, but that is a lot of land production. Can he afford it, is the question, and no, he really cannot. Needs to be a little bit worried. Maybe once he finishes up another couple of T2 mexes, this will make a little bit more sense, but as of right now, he is stalling and stalling hard. Sensors now on the way for that Aeon Commander. And of course, down here in the southwest, this choke is now being held by Nomander. He's keeping his units a little bit spread out, which is something to worry about. We also have some assisting units out from Miles. Miles trying to be a very supportive player here. And of course, these Aurora, as long as they're microed properly, should do all right. Those first couple of thumbs out from Miles, going to only shoot an AA and not really get much else done. And these units out from Nomander are going to continue to get that long range harass, that free damage, and as long as Burning Firefly does not move his units forward, he's going to be taking bad trades. But even when you do move forward, the Aurora just start falling back, and they keep taking these mass efficient trades. This is what it's all about in the early game with the Aeon, but as you can see, once units get on top of them, they just evaporate. Meanwhile, over here to the northeast, we have a PD creep, but not towards the enemy, but towards Nomander's production. He wants to cut off the reinforcements. And these units over here going down. The big thing here is that all of these fights, they're going to be reclaim for the southern team. It's not really in his best interest to be fighting on this side of the map anymore. He got the damage done. He's not really going to get any more done. And with both of these commanders moving forward with this PD creep, you got to be a little bit worried for Nomander, who is starting to walk forward with his own commander. T2 now on the way for Blade after getting that sensors upgrade. Let's see how far that lets him see. He can see the entire army, but he just critically cannot see Fickum's comm, which is on a gun speed and range upgrade, which could be dangerous here. But with T2 finishing up very soon, he could always, of course, go for some Oblivion point defenses to deal with that. Bit of an air fight taking place over here. It does not go well for the northern team, specifically Nomander. But his ally Spiky Noob doing very, very well with the air production. We're now starting to see Mass Renegade appear on the map. Arguably the worst gunship if you're going for a snipe, but the best if you want to raid or deal some close air support onto a large group of T1 units. And now Fickum getting spun in speed and range done on that commander. T2 is also finished up for Blade. And the PD creep continues. T2 Mass Extractor being built on the front lines. I don't know if that is on purpose for Burning Firefly. I think he just queued it up with the commander and forgot that the commander is T2. You gotta hit that hotkey twice if you want to build that Mass Extractor at only the Tech 1 level. And of course, Nomander and Spiky Noob. They're sitting here in the middle. And the number of gunships coming out of this factory over here for Spiky Noob is getting a bit concerning. Overall, he's sitting on a healthy number of ASF, or not ASF, interceptors. That's 28 versus the interceptors mostly for Blade are 16, but he'll have to respond if something happens in the west. Really, one interceptor for Miles and none for Burning Firefly, so this could be very dangerous. They've now spotted all of the gunships, and there are some AA over here, but I just don't see it being enough. And in come all of the gunships. It looks as though they're targeting Burning Firefly, which might be the best call here, as he's the one who's been doing the PD creeping. They do separate. Some of them do try and fire onto the AA there. And Burning Firefly starts building up his own flak. But I don't know if that flak will finish in time. The air cleaner is getting built by both of these commanders. The air cleaner is being focused down. It will go down very soon. Not much damage being poured onto the comms, and now all of the interceptors out from Blade show up, and this is going to be a thwarted snipe attempt coming out from Spiky Noob. He's going to be very unhappy with the situation there, but he got full air control, and now over here to the east, there is really nothing to stop him from just raiding with the gunships, and that does seem to be the main plan here now that the snipe has failed. Get some kind of value out of those gunships. Needs to make sure that he's giving enough time to the gunships to really kill off all these mechs as he's flying over. He can get a lot of damage done. He's going straight for the far back line over here, held by Miles. And Miles doesn't really have... He has T3 air finished up now. And he doesn't really have that much in the way of interceptors to stop this. So this is just going to be constant damage going down onto Miles. And Spiky Noob is here in the middle of his comms here. A large push now coming out from Blade, who just has that insane production. He's also setting up some T2 PD creep. And there was a massive battle here, as we can see from the reclaim totals. We have well over 7,000 in this area. That's going to be a very important position to hold. Overall reclaim on the map, 23,000 right now. The gunships come in towards the main airbase for Miles, but they're really just going to get shot down if they stay any longer. So instead, they're going to head off and keep on killing off Mass Extractors. There's more Mass Extractors up here to the northeast that are very much so worth killing. These T2 mechs, it's not cheap to replace them. And that T1AA not going to survive for too much longer, and these 4 gunships going to be able to continue to deal their damage down, killing off more and more Mass Extractors, getting more of that raiding damage done, more gunships coming in from this northeastern section. And he's just going to continue to try and deal economic damage down onto Miles, and it's starting to show as his team pulls ahead with 60 mass a second more. Meanwhile, over here to the west, a large attack out from Burning Firefly being thwarted by the T2 land units coming out from Nomander and the gunships coming out from Spiky Noob, but he needs to be careful. He does not have T3 air yet, and he has spotted the enemy's T3 air. We could see something like ASF coming out very soon to try and deal with this, but he does have enough interceptor to deal with these 2 ASFs, so for now, he is more than happy to just continue to damage Miles. 3 comms on me, says Blade. But Blade also has quite the little fire base set up here, and he's getting a lot of reclaim. Going to be happy with his position in this game. Spiky Noob, the lowest eco player in the game, but he's also just taking out so much economy for the other side. So many of these gunships getting ranks of veterancy, 3 vet, 2 vet, 1 vet. These gunships proving invaluable. The early air game for Spiky Noob has proven to be the bane of the existence of this Southern team, and he just keeps going, and there's just nothing really here to stop him. There's 4 free T2 mexes right here. Does he know that they're T2? He should have a decent idea of it, but he wants to go back in towards this base. He wants to keep focusing all of his damage down on Miles, who is now the lowest eco player in the game, right next to his ally Blade. I think that might be power stall related for Blade. No, it's not. He's just doesn't have as much eco as he had a second ago. Don't know what that is all about, but now we have Burning Firefly building up T2 artillery. That's a very expensive investment, and the T1AA has finally, along with, I'm guessing, some ASF, cleaned up most of these gunships, and now the ASF are coming in here to the middle and going to be able to try and kill off all these gunships that are landed currently for Spiky. This gun comm out from Fickum, 51 kills and counting. Spiky doesn't have a kill on the comm yet. And 22 kills over here for No Mander. And the overwhelming Fervor spam coming out from Blade, doing very well. Fervor, the best unit, the best T1 artillery really for killing off stagnant structures or units that aren't moving. Lots of damage on those. Over here to the west, large group of units, some Obsidians, some Blazes, and some Asylums out for No Mander. Starting to get some value done. The T2 Phase 4 Aeon, a very strong point to be at. I feel like using the gunships over back towards Miles was a mistake. I would have loved to see him focus the gunships on dealing damage to all of these T2 mexes here for Burning Firefly. As Burning Firefly is the highest eco player on the enemy team. He's the only one who really was unmolested by Spiky Noob for all intents and purposes. T3 Air just finishes up for Spiky Noob, but he's so far behind on the air game. You gotta be starting to worry for him. There's a Strat Bomber now out for Miles, and it seems to be locked onto that commander of Spiky Noob. Can he do anything about this? Is there any micro to be had? I don't know if you can micro Strat Bombs out from the Seraphim. I know you can't do it with the Cybran anymore. He's gonna try. He does a dodge attempt, and he does still eat it. And he's only a couple more Strat Bombs away from dying, and there's another Strat Bomber out on the field. It feels like this is the end for you, my friend. And there comes the Strat Bomb. Oh, he eats it to the face. One more bomb coming in, and he's dead. There's another Strat Bomber out on the field, but not choosing to bring it in to try and kill Spiky. Can he get a perfect dodge off? I think you'd need it. No, he can't, and down goes Spiky Noob. He has T3 air production capable, but now the game has just taken a massive tonal shift. And honestly, oh no, it's a disaster. They have no air control. Sure, there's some mobile T3AA popping around now for No Mander, who's reached T3 air, or I mean T3 land, but he needs to start producing a lot of ASF, and he needs to do it quickly because he is sorely behind in ASF production. A SAM has been thrown up in that base for No Mander, and there's also these mobile anti-air kicking around that are going to be able to kill off some of these ASF, and unfortunately Miles just keeps flying near them. Bit of a mistake coming out from Miles there, and he's still doing it. No, he's flying into SAMs. He's losing the vast majority of his ASF, pretty much all of them going down right there. We now have Nothus coming out. Seems as though it's going to be an attempt onto either economic damage or on towards No Mander. Miles sitting at a strong position. Overall economies, though, you have to be worried about No Mander, who's sitting on very, very good economy right now. But now we're starting to see something scary coming out from Burning Firefly. Mentioned he was the only one unmolested by Spiky Noob, and it's starting to show. He's gotten up mass Titan production, and while T3 does exist for Nomander, and while he should be able to defend this choke point relatively easily, there's a lot of territory these Titans could raid and cause problems. Fickum also doing very well with the gun comm, and with just keeping his base in order. He's up to full T2 mexes. Does he have any AA? No, he doesn't, so these Nothas going to come in. They're going to be able to kill off multiple T2 mexes here for Fickum if he doesn't come up with a good plan to stop it soon. And oh no, more T2 mexes going to go down. They're about to fly into some ASF though, so that should be dealt with. The Titans in the middle, they're just becoming a little bit too much to deal with. We now have some Harbingers coming out onto the field. Need a lot of Harbingers to deal with those Titans, and I just don't see it materializing anytime soon. Burning Firefly needs to get aggressive, needs to throw these Titans right up this area, needs to get them going around this way and flanking into these bases and dealing real damage down onto Nomander and Fickum. Spiky Noob is being very supportive to his team, trying to give them ideas, trying to tell them how they should maybe approach things. 300 mass a second, suggesting a GC. And that is most likely a very good idea if his team does not lose the vast majority of their eco due to these Titans, which I'm just very worried about. Harbingers and Obsidians getting involved over here. They will be able to deal a decent little chunk of damage, but the Titans can outrun them. I mean, I don't know if they can outrun the Harbs, but there's enough of them that they can kill the Harbs if need be. Oh, first Harb about to go down here. And a strap bomber just fired somewhere. It's over here to the east. Managing to kill off more of the eco of Fickum, who is really hurting for mass right now, down to 83 mass a second. And make that 78. And he's just continuing to go forward. Need to get the ASF on those. They're going to just keep taking out T3 mexes, but nope, a SAM shuts it down. And now the Titans are just pushing into this area, and there just doesn't seem to be anything here to stop them. They just have free reign over this entire area. And this is a disaster here for Fickum and Nomander. They just don't have anything to deal with these Titans. And it's becoming very apparent very quickly that they may lose their only T3 airbase, and that could be a problem if they're rushing a GC. Also, just losing all these mechs is losing a lot of economy, but I mean, still, he's gone up in economy since we last spoke about it, despite losing mexes. Has managed to build quite a few T3 mechs emplacements, and now Cerberus going up in this base. Nomander wants to hold on to it. The Titans can just continue their rampage, but unfortunately that rampage is coming to an end. The sun is setting on these Titan Raiders as we watch Cerberus and T1 bombers slowly deal with them, but they will take out a few more mexes. And the GC, it's going up quick. It's going to be done here soon. There's just really nothing on the other side of the map to make me think that this southern team can deal with it. And the Titans managed to kill off 4 more T2 mexes despite kind of being boxed into Cerberus and dealing with T1 bombers. 1 Titan left, not going to manage to get another mex. But that's a lot of damage down, and of course, we have to give props. Nomander, 1351 rated, but does have the presence of mind to just queue up all of the mexes again. And he's doing it with T2 Engineers, so those will be built either very quickly or at T2, so he's going to get a lot of eco very quickly, very back into his pockets. And of course, he now has that GC, which he can go ahead and stamp towards the southern team's base. And he needs to do it quickly, as right now, Burning Firefly is starting to build up an economy, which will just be able to rival that of Nomander with the 2 bases. And GC needs to deal damage. It was an all-or-nothing play, really, for Nomander. He is so far behind economically, and Fickum is really a non-factor in this game. So it's all on this very beautiful unit right here on screen for you. And it is pinged out. They see the GC. Do they have any way of dealing with it? Is the true question here. T3 engineering is done for Burning Firefly. He needs to start building himself up some Ravagers right now. At least build one and then fall back, because he has got nothing to really stop that encroaching GC if it decides to just walk forward. Air could be an option, but there's a decent Air Force for Nomander. He does have some AA kicking around in various places. Spiky Noob being very supportive, telling his team how to manage it. He mentions that this is an all-in push, and I think that is correct. That is what he needs. And the GC lumbers forward. And that's going to be a lot of T3 units going down, but that's not the damage they need. They need economic damage. That's what needs to be done right now. Spiky Noob asking if his GC changes will bug out. I'm guessing this was played right after the GC Tractor Claw update. And now, what can they see? Do they know that they know there's two comms there? AA and shields up, trying to help his ally with the micro here, trying to tell him how to manage it. Look at him sucking. They're giving a lot of time to somebody like Burning Firefly to build up defenses. There's already a couple of Ravagers here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him start building more Ravagers back here just in case. The GC now has the shields with him. Go for 2 ACU. 2 ACU, says Fickum. Chicken now on the way apparently for Fickum, and he's nearly done with it. And I just don't see any experimentals for the other side. There's no GC coming out from Blade. There's no chicken coming out from Miles. I think they can deal with it maybe with air. But I'm not sure. There's still a decent number of ASF for Nomander. He's sitting on 38 ASF. Miles is sitting on 35. He's in fact behind on overall ASF count. And there's also Flak here, which can deal with those Nothas relatively well. Spiky says, ignore this base here. His army will deal with it anyways. Keep the GC moving. Keep the GC mobile. You gotta get it down here. You gotta get it moving towards that commander of Burning Firefly. You see the GC coming in there in the distance. You see all of these Harbingers now following in behind it. Fickum mentions air. Don't be afraid of his PD, says Spiky Noob, which is good advice right here. His PD won't kill that GC anytime soon. It's at half HP. 5 Ravagers will kill a GC in a decent amount of time, but not fast enough for it to matter here. Then down goes Burning Firefly, the economic powerhouse here for the Southern team. And the air fight goes on. That's a lot of mercies. It does seem as though an air fight did happen. And it seems as though Nomander won it. He did have numbers. Gonna have a harder time keeping these ASF with this force, with the SAMs and AA that's been spammed up now by the enemy team. And yeah, there's just, does he have a chicken on the way back here? No, he doesn't. He's just, seems as though he's all in on stopping this with air. His ACU is still running away. Harbinger is now pushing in towards this base of formerly Burning Firefly. telling him to keep the units up with it. Spiky Noob doing a great job of coaching his allies after going down, using his superior knowledge on game states and how to win games to help out his allies. Really love to see that teamwork, as it does apparently make the dream work. And then GC continuing to push forward, already up to 4 ranks of veterancy, 64,000 mass killed, and has swung the economy game much closer to being even. Only 100 mass a second separating these teams. Now a chicken over here on the east fighting against Blade. Blade gonna push up with the commander. Blade about to go down. Blade falls to the chicken. And the commander of Miles now under threat as well from the GC. And the first team to get experimentals is the team that's going to win this as a recall happens. Thank you all so much for watching. You've been beautiful. This is Willow signing off.